Time now for a conversation with Drew Blazsik. It's time for faith and finance and some really important stuff to cover from Drew today. Good morning to you, Drew.
Hey, good morning. I thought it was spring break. It's spring break for me, and it doesn't feel like it right now.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Why spring break when spring is still 9 days? It hasn't even started yet.
I know. It's most of the schools were last week and this week. Mine's actually a little later. It's this week, so it's kind of we had a couple nice days, but yeah, spring's not even here.
Does it concern anybody that people who are in charge of schools have spring break before the actual season begins? Shouldn't they know?
I should have brought that up.
I'm
in my
not in
interview
the academic world, and I know it's not spring yet.
I know it's sad. It's sad affairs with our academics out there.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got some big stuff to cover, and I don't know exactly what it means, but I'd love to hear about this. Vatican announced 2 indexes that they've released.
Yeah, so the Vatican Bank released 2 indexes. One was based on U.S. stocks. The other one's based on Euro stocks. So it's the Institute for the Works of Religion, commonly called the Vatican Bank, launched 2 Catholic investment indexes in partnership with Morningstar. So one is the Morningstar Eurozone Catholic Principles, and the other one is the U.S. Catholic Principles in these indexes. It's trying to align with Catholic principles with this. The purpose of it is to make sure that we know. I think there's 2 things. We got to be careful what we invest our money in, and then also what we spend our money with those companies, a lot of those global companies. This is a good way. I know that Ave Maria has some, not indexes, but mutual funds you could buy.
Yeah, and it's very helpful that the Vatican does that because it does help us pick and choose a little better.
Yes. So it's companies involved in activities contrary to the Catholic teaching are excluded from this. I think it goes more in depth. I was trying to do a lot of research on it. It actually it definitely stays away from abortion. So any companies that support abortion will stay away from that. It also goes, does things, not necessarily it's wrong to smoke, but it does go against like tobacco, other aspects that are more, I would say, politically charged, but not necessarily like abortion is an intrinsic evil. I don't think smoking a cigar is necessarily a sin, but it does stay away from some of those things.
Well, smoking a cigar while procuring an abortion is not good.
Yeah, both together can be really bad.
Yeah.
So, so they launched it in February 10th. So that's something that us as investors, we can look at and we can say, you know what, this might be a good thing to invest in. So the Vatican Bank reported $32.8 million in net profit in 24. That's a 7% increase from 23. But I know, so that's something I think that would help. Definitely we could align our money more into that. Because we talked about, what do you do with your rollover 401k? Do you invest in those traditional, let's say, BlackRock or Vanguard? That more than likely they're investing in companies we don't agree with. And BlackRock, I would say, doesn't really think about Catholic principles when they do their global agenda.
Right.
But we got those indexes, which I think could be a very positive thing.
On the money side, right? But you're saying there could be conflict there or no?
What do you mean conflict?
No, I'm sorry. So you're saying the indexes that were added are not, there are no moral conflicts to those.
Yeah.
Well, they just add a lot. I wouldn't say conflict. They just add, so they definitely exclude abortion, anything supporting abortion. But then I was doing more research. It also excludes like tobacco. Not necessarily things that are an evil.
Right.
But anything that they view as an ethical concern to society, they really try to be more. So it'd be kind of interesting. We could view it. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Just launched. There are other funds that we can invest in. And I want to say also, there's 2 things we got to do as Catholics. I think we got to be careful with our investments. And we talked about there's different ways you could do it. You could put your money self-directed IRAs, or you could put your money into local economy. You could invest in actual assets. And this is an index that you could do it with. You got Ave Maria.
Yeah.
But also we got to be careful what we spend our money on. And I mentioned, I don't have the details with me, and I should do it. I could do it next week. But there's that app that you can scan anything at the grocery store, and it'll tell you who owns the company? Is it a local person, or is it a name for the company to make you think it's local, but it's really just going to the big companies overseas? So that app launched, I believe, a few months back. I have the app. I have not used it, but if those who want to be very cautious about what they actually purchase, because I think voting, like when we say we vote, I mean, does our vote really change too much of those millions? Or if someone from North Dakota, you think it really changes an election? Right? But one thing they're really concerned about is where your money goes.
Well, and you made the point some time ago, just if you really have the option, invest locally. You just said it again, just invest locally. If you can, if you've got the dollars where you can really affect a local business, a local family who's trying to build a business, that's the best way to go. But I wanted to jump into this because we don't have a lot of time, because you also put forward the idea, we want to talk about the winners and losers economically from this war. We've always heard this idea that war is, sometimes war is waged, and we're not making this accusation, but sometimes war is waged just for an economic boost. And so we have to look at who's winning because of this.
There's a lot of motivational factors when you look at war. All I know is when you look at the global economy, you look at who controls the money supply, the reserves. I have said this in all my classes. If you look at that and you look at the past historical aspects, war always happens because it's a reset. Whoever controls the money supply, and you know that you have those nations, which Iran, and then you have China, you have Russia, called the BRICS nations. They're trying to go away from the dollar. And that so there's always an incentive to war that's beyond what is going on now. Now, back in the day, you went to war was because your king said so, and you had to pay taxes. Now it's all controlled by fiat money, which is paid for by inflation, right? So this war broke out. You got here's the big, I would say, winners and losers. The U.S. is more protected than the past because it's now the net energy exporter. Thanks to fracking, that U.S., the countries overseas have been really in trouble with oil. Their gas prices have shot up. Our gas prices shot up. I think it's around $3.50. It has shot up, not as bad,
but
as now.
not horribly,
because we don't get now. The global economy is always affected by what happens in Iran, but we're not directly impacted. We're indirectly impacted. So America, even though it has a 20% jump since the conflict. We have somewhat, I could say, benefited from the high oil prices in some regard. The Middle East, surprisingly, higher oil prices are not helpful Gulf economy. So this is really going to hurt the Middle East, Eastern nations. The Strait of Hormuz disruptive limit for the supply of oil is really affecting some of those nations. Tourism is down, definitely. It's really affected that. Countries like Egypt are already facing currency crisis due to the rising energy. So anytime you have those conflicts, you'll have more aspect of people jumping in. I heard someone say the other day it's already a global war because Russia is helping out Iran. But think about, we were helping out Ukraine to attack Russia. I mean, it's already a proxies that they're using, and China is directly impacted because China gets a large impact. 4% of their oil from Venezuela, that wasn't that big of an impact, but Iran is huge for them. Because I think it's like 20%.
20% is what they've been
going into that. Europe remains highly vulnerable to energy shocks, imported about 58% of its fossil fuels. European gas prices have already risen more than 50% this month.
50%.
And we can talk about more about it. And then you got Asia, and I just want to say, and then Russia's a big winner here. Because they're looking at a lot of these countries, instead of getting Iranian oil, now it's going to be Russia. So Russia's a huge winner from this war we're talking about.
Fascinating. Drew Blazsik, you always provide us with some eye-opening information. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Wow. Careful where you invest. That's for sure.
Look, and there are always all of these different ways to look at what's going on around the world, and economics is at least a big driving force on all of these things, so we need to track it. Nicely done, Mr. Drew.
Drew Blazsik, ladies and gentlemen.